From deep in the irradiated wastes of the Mojave Desert, it's James Robertson and Michael Lucas Smith with That Podcast, a Fallout New Vegas gameplay diary.
There we go. Welcome to the Repconn episode.
That's pretty much what it is, the Repconn episode. I had the devil's own time getting through there because it took me forever to figure out that I didn't have to whack the Nightkins.
You know, you could have told me that a couple of days ago.
Did you go whack all the Nightkins?
I did indeed.
Okay, so I walked in.
Well, hang on, let's rewind back to Novac.
Okay.
So, there's a Nightkin there killing Bremen.
Right.
So I killed it.
Right, killing one is easy. Ish.
Well, I'm just wondering, did that make me an enemy of the Nightkin?
You know, I don't know. You see, the Nightkin are basically just super mutants, so most of them are mindless. You know,
super mutants with
blue skin and stealth boys. Yeah, I mean, if you can imagine blue super mutants with stealth boys, and they all carry like the moral equivalent of super sledges. Yeah, it's awesome.
Those giant weapons of theirs, they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah, if you can only carry a few.
Yeah, I could only carry one, and I got Eddie to carry another one.
You need to get the strong back perk just to carry those off and sell them.
So how do you avoid fighting them all?
Okay, so you go to Novac, you get the stupid quest for Manny Vargas, right?
Yeah, the quote-unquote ghoul.
That's when you decide that you need to go to the test facility. And actually, that was kind of a stupid story in and of itself. I first went to the Repconn headquarters and couldn't figure out ghouls. What the hell ghouls are you talking about? All I see is a bunch of robots. And then it occurred to me that, oh, wait, he meant the test facility. So I wasted a ton of time wandering around the headquarters. And it took me a few tries in there to make sure that I didn't get whacked by the robots, because if you hack the right terminals, you can get IDs. Anyway, so I go to the test facility. You go through there, you find the stupid metal staircase over on the east side. And if you go to the basement, eventually...
Wait a second, hang on. What robots?
If you go to the Repconn HQ building.
Oh, no, I haven't been in there yet. Well, that's quite a distance away. You traveled a fair bit.
Yeah, if you go to the Repconn HQ building, it's got all the security bots are wandering around. And
well, did you meet Felicia Day at 198 on the way?
No, I didn't.
So you just skipped... You had to walk all the way...
I went around. I went to the right. I went east.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the loop that you follow in the main quest.
Yeah, so I went around that way, yeah. So I didn't go north towards Vegas at all.
Okay, so you went to the wrong building.
Well, I went to the wrong building, and it's crawling with robots. It's still, all the robots are still on patrol, making sure that the security is perfect, just the way Repconn and Robco left it. You find all kinds of messages in the computer system about how Robco has proudly taken over Repconn. And if you hack the right terminals fast enough, you can get facial ID recognition, and the robots are happy to see you because you belong there. So on each floor, you have to hack a terminal before one of the robots sees you.
Okay, so back to the Repconn test
so finally, I found the test facility. And you wander through that building, and this is one of my pet peeves about Fallout, is that you have to look, when you look at the stupid maps, you have to realize that they're showing you all levels at once. So just because you see a door doesn't mean it's the door on your level.
Yeah, that can be tricky.
It irritates the crap out of me. I wish they just have multiple maps. Anyway, so I finally find the stupid metal staircase on the eastern side of the building. Go down to the basement. If you skip the first hallway and go down the second hallway on the right-hand side, you get to a basement where there's a blue Nightkin who's actually in charge of his facilities. He'll actually talk to you.
I shot him.
Okay, you shot him. I actually talked to him.
Huh.
And when you talk to him, he talks to somebody who's not there because it's one of the blue Nightkins with a stealth boy, and he talks to him, or at least says things to him, and they decide that you might be on their side, and they decide not to kill you if you'll go and take care of the ghoul that's hanging out with a bunch of traps in a different room.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to him.
Why do they want you to do that?
Because they think there's a whole shipment of stealth boys in the building, and they want the stealth boys.
There's a whole shipment of... Well, they have them all.
They have them all, yes, but they think there are more.
Uh-huh.
So you go find the stupid ghoul, and you can talk to him, and he wants you to go whack all the Nightkins to save this his girlfriend. And, I did about a fourth of a second thinking about this, and I thought, wait a minute, one stupid ghoul on a catwalk, or a whole bunch of Nightkin that have been kicking my ass for the last hour. So I pulled out my varmint rifle and took a headshot. That was the end of Harland. He just went down.
Well, see, that's quite the sledgehammer response right there.
Yeah, well, I decided, let me see, I could fight these Nightkin that have been kicking my ass for an hour. I had to go back to save multiple times. Or I could just whack this one stupid ghoul with a rifle. I put on a stealth boy, aimed at his head, and killed him. But then you have to be careful, because the room he's in is crawling with bear traps. Just crawling with.
Mm-hmm.
And you go and hack the terminal up on the... Well, actually, I don't think you have to hack it, but you go up to the top catwalk where he is, and there's a terminal that will give you access to an invoice that says that the stealth boys came to this facility, but then were shipped back. So the shipment that the Nightkin think they're getting isn't actually there. Then you have to go back to the Nightkin and explain to him, sorry, dude, the stealth boys you thought were here aren't there. And if you don't have a high enough speech skill, I think they'll fight you at that point. Which I would take as bad.
So you had enough speech skill. What did they do? They just left?
They just left. They leave. They walk out.
Oh, I got them to leave a different way. I got them to leave the planet by killing them all. So
how did you do
I did that with laser weapons.
I'd fight one, and that would be the end of it. A second one would show up, and I'd just get slaughtered.
You know what you're possibly missing out on?
What's that?
Early warning from Eddie. Eddie.
Oh.
He sings a little battle song every time he detects something.
Oh, right. I didn't have a companion at that point.
So he shoots them, and I shot them with the lasers, and I shot the head.
Okay.
And I barely used VATS. I would shoot them, then VATS in, sometimes finish them off. And I took them one at a time. But you can totally melee them, actually fight.
Okay, so you had a companion, so it was a little easier because you had somebody to keep them busy while you took shots at them.
Yeah, and I was actually having a lot of trouble finding them. Eddie would just run off down a corridor and start blasting at them. And he went unconscious one time, and I was like, uh-oh.
Right, now I didn't have a companion at that point, so I was happy to just talk my way out of that one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that would have been easier.
Now,
for sure.
When you do that, did you go back to the ghouls up in the research facility?
Yes.
Okay, and did you agree to get their fuel?
Yep.
Now, did you get their fuel?
I did.
Okay.
What, you didn't?
No, I did. I got their stuff. You have to go talk to... Well, actually, I guess you don't have to. There's a couple different things you do, I guess, because it sounds like you did something a little different than I did. I went and talked to old woman Gibson at the junkyard, and she told me where to find stuff. And the first time I went to, Clark Field.
You know what? I carefully backed away from that place because the number of little red dots appearing on my perception scared the crap out of me.
Well, okay, so by the time I went there, I had Boone because I had gone back because I had. Actually, no, I didn't have Boone. I did have Boone at that point. Anyway, so no, maybe I didn't. I don't remember now. Anyway, so I went back. What I did is I went there. The geckos clocked me a couple of times before I realized that I didn't actually have to go in. If you look carefully before you ever enter Clark Field, there's a dead guy on the street wearing a radiation suit.
His diary is funny.
All you have to do,
I found this radiation suit. It's awesome. It's like this. Radiation gets it at all.
Right, but all you have to do is loot him.
I puked up my breakfast.
All you have to do is loot him. He's got the stuff you need.
I know. I'm just talking about his diary. How he's like, there's no effects from radiation, and then he pukes up the next day, and then he's dead.
Right.
Yeah, I know that was pretty funny. I've got this radiation suit, and there's a place that I'm intending to use it, but I have to go on without my companions because I've discovered they don't like radiation too much.
Right, right. So I got that stuff, and then I got back, and I launched the rocket for the ghouls. And after you launch the rocket for the ghouls, if you have a high enough science skill, you can screw with them if you want, or you can help them.
How do you mean? I didn't get that option. I got lots of science.
If you go over to the navigation board. Okay, so there's the button you push on the one side, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other side, there's a navigation board. If you examine the navigation board, it'll tell you if your science skill is under 55, it'll tell you that you need a science skill of 55 and you can't make heads or tails of it. So my science skill was only 49, so I whipped out one of my Programmer's Digest and read that.
You know who else uses these digests?
Who's that?
Sledgehammer. There's an episode where he has to defuse a bomb that's attached to a clock, and he walks into a clock store. All the clocks are ticking. Then the next scene, you see him saying, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing." He pulls out a book that's called Bomb Defusal. And he's looking through the book of Bomb Defusal. It ends up doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo, cuts the wire, and the bomb's defused. So that's very Fallout right there. I think maybe Sledgehammer needs to be remade. Okay. So you whipped out some science.
I whipped out the science, and then you get two choices on that board. One is make the rockets crash into each other. I decided not to do that one. The other one is you notice that their navigation trajectory is not very optimal. You can optimize it and make their chances of getting where they're going 12.5% higher.
So you did that?
I did that one. Well, I'm playing a good character in this game.
I didn't realize you could do that, so I guess they're just going to take a little longer to get there. But they're ghouls, so they're going to be fine with the radiation anyway.
You get a little positive. I think it helps you. Does that help you? I think it helps you somewhere anyway. It gives you positive karma for some reason anyway. So, after that, you've gotten the ghouls out of the building. Now you go back to Novac, and that's when you tell Manny Vargas that you've gotten rid of the ghouls.
Yeah, and that puts you along the main plot line.
That puts you along the main plot line. Although I didn't get any further information out of him because I screwed up. You said you met Mr. Fancy Pants at some point. What town was it you met him in?
New Vegas.
Oh, you actually did go to Tops already.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I haven't made it that far.
Yeah. So let's talk about Boone. Did you solve this matter, or did you just pick someone you didn't like?
What I did is I noticed that there was a safe behind where what's her name, the old woman who ran the motel.
Yeah.
I noticed there was a safe, and the quest thing told me that I should look around in that room for clues. And the only thing I could...
Well, only after you talked to the crazy guy. He says that he saw...
I talked to the crazy guy, and that's when the thing popped up in the clue saying that...
I ended up interviewing every single person in the town.
Yeah, so did
before I found out that.
Multiple times before I realized that I hadn't talked to the crazy guy about it.
Yeah, actually, same there. And then I had trouble... See, the thing is that he said he saw people in the foyer. But on the actual map, that lobby area is not called that.
Right. That confused the hell out of me for a little bit.
Yeah, and the sun was rising, she was walking up the road, didn't have much time left, so I quickly went and broke into a safe and found the receipt.
Well, when I got there, it was nighttime, so I went in at like 2 in the morning, broke in, got the thing, read it, and noticed, oh, so she sold the wife off into slavery. So I had no compunction over waking her up out of bed saying, let me go show you something in front of the dinosaur.
Well, that was what I was I interviewed everybody probably about twice like you. I expected somebody to be lying about it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But nobody did. They all said the same thing, that she was a horrible person. I expected the killer would try to cover their tracks and say, oh, no, I liked her.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't the case. So ultimately, the evidence led me to the conclusion, and I decided, this is pretty damn horrible. So I let Boone get his revenge.
Yeah, and then you have to talk to Boone again if you want him to join you as a companion.
Yeah, I had a chat with him, and I asked him what he was going to do. He said he was going to go hunt legions, and I thought, fine by me.
So you didn't ask him to join?
No.
Okay, I didn't have a companion at this point. I hadn't fixed the robot, so I went ahead and told him to go ahead. And I did finally figure out where the stupid robot was. It's the one that you have is sitting in the Mojave Express office in Prim.
Correct.
Right, and I don't have all the parts I need. I'm not sure what the parts are, but every time I go back it tells me I need parts, and I don't have the ones I need.
Well, you don't have, if you've got high enough repair skill,
If
you
you've
don't
got
need
high
the
enough
parts.
repair skill, but you can also just get by if you have the right parts.
And if you have enough science, then you can reduce the amount of repair you need.
Right. Right.
So that's what I did very early on in the game.
I'll probably eventually go back and get the stupid robot, but I took Boone along.
Well, I don't know if you will, because you can have two companions. You've got one. You're probably close to meeting Felicia Day.
Okay.
I'm never going to be able to call her by whatever her character name is. And then, at one point I'm going to eventually find Rex. So I don't have to. I want to finish Eddie's plot line before I find Rex.
Okay.
But we'll get there eventually. So you've got Boone. You've solved the murder.
Yeah, Boone is
and
actually a pretty cool companion. Although, like you said about Eddie, he charges everything.
Yeah.
And like I finally realized how to get into the correctional facility, because I told you I had kind of abandoned that.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that the reason I couldn't figure it out is that I had killed the guy who had the key and had left his body outside without searching it.
Uh-huh.
So I wandered by there again and noticed there was a body I hadn't looted, and sure enough, on the body was a key. So the two of us walked in the front door of the NCRF, and there must have been like 10 guys standing in there. So we had this epic firefight. And
they didn't like you, of course.
But yeah, go figure. I killed half their guys. They didn't like me.
Did you rescue the guy who would be sheriff?
I didn't leave anybody alive, so I'm assuming no. I killed
I'm guessing after you got the NCR into Prim, that probably disappeared.
I killed everything that was moving in there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. I convinced the NCR to go ahead and take over Prim anyway.
So now you're on the road. You're going to head to Trading Post 188.
I've actually been there already.
But yeah, that's right, because you walked past to get to Repconn HQ. Right. And then there's Freeside, which is sort of the entrance to New Vegas.
Have not been there yet.
That's a dump.
Okay.
So I guess we'll talk about Freeside next time after you play a bit more.
Yeah. Have not been there. I was looking back at some of the quests that I hadn't finished yet. I mean, part of the thing is that I guess when I played Fallout 3, I played that after the game had been out for a while. So one of the things I used as kind of a crutch was that the wiki was very full. So if I ran into anything that was frustrating me, I could just look it up.
What I found is that Fallout 3, the main plot was really thin.
Yeah.
And very short, and didn't really encourage you to go very many places. The main plot line is encouraging you to go all over the places. So I won't tell you where I'm up to or what I've done, but I'm currently meeting the different tribes, and I'm actually at the Brotherhood of Steel's base right now.
Oh yeah, I found one dead Brotherhood of Steel guy in one of the buildings.
Which building of what?
Oh gosh, he was in. Oh, that was in Repconn HQ.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, because they're concerned that some of their people are missing, and one of the places is Repconn HQ.
Right, now,
so
I'm probably going.
I haven't been back yet.
I'm intending to go back, because now that I have the strong back, I can probably cart the armor off.
Yeah, that is another thing that I was intending to do, make a whole bunch of money doing that.
Yeah.
But so I haven't been back yet. I'm still talking to the Brotherhood of Steel people running around with Felicia Day, because she's a Brotherhood person. And so that's where I've left it at this point. I could actually skip meeting all the tribes, but I thought, well, why do that? I can enjoy more of the world.
Maybe you can tell me one thing. When I went into Boulder City, now if I recall, you said when you went into Boulder City you talked to the Great Khans?
Now, let me get this straight. Did you rock up there with a gun hanging out?
No, I walked in with my gun holstered, but they immediately started firing on me anyway.
I have no idea why. And maybe it's because...
And my thing still lists the Great Khans as neutral towards me.
Who was it that... Boone's a Great Khan. Well, was a Great Khan.
Okay. Well, he was not with me at this point.
Well, having talked to him, I learned a bit about the Great Khan. Anyway, what armor... Were you wearing NCR clothing or something?
I was wearing, I think, just metal armor that I pulled from some... Oh, you know what? I was wearing armor that came from some gang.
Well, that could be a problem.
That was probably it.
Because of all the gangs, despite the fact that the Khans traffic in drugs, they seem to be one of the more honourable groups.
Okay.
And because when you do talk to them and make a deal with them, they stick to it. In fact, after I made the deal with Great Khans, NCR got orders delivered to them to kill them anyway. And I convinced the guy in command at that spot that no way.
Okay.
If you're NCR, you're going to do the right thing. He agreed.
You see, I had another weird thing happen to me in that town. So I found, so I had to go back on a save after this because I thought it would, I didn't like the idea of it giving me a negative with NCR. I walked into where the 2 NCR captives are, and it says if I untie one, I untie both. So I go ahead and untie them, and the 2 idiots start attacking me.
So I reckon you're probably wearing like the powder gang clothes or something like that at this time.
I was wearing metal armor at the time, but they both started attacking me, and I was like, what the hell? So I had to go back on the save because I sure as hell didn't want the NCR negative towards me at this point in the game. I figured there'd be nowhere in the game I could walk.
Yeah. Well, you can get around, but yeah. I mean, I definitely don't like having Legion negative. There's a certain point in the game
I did
where...
finally run across the Legion dude, by the way, in Nipton. I went back to find all the stuff in the mayor's office like you said I should.
Yeah.
And I ran across the guy, and he was a cold bastard.
Yeah, he's pretty full on. He kind of lays out the Legion philosophy right there.
Now, I did finish his quest, by the way. I told the guy at 188 about what happened at Nipton, and that finished that quest for me.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, I didn't realize that's where you could do it, so I've still got that quest open.
If you're at 188, you can tell the sergeant there, or the guy who's in charge there, about the destruction of Nipton, and he goes on something about how it's maybe bad news, but I'm glad to hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have to do that then. Okay, well, that's probably enough for the that podcast for today.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff still going on.
Yeah, it's a lot more in this game. It's funny how many reviews I read about various crashes and stuff, and I actually haven't had a single crash.
Well, the game hasn't crashed on me either. The only thing I see is periodic glitches where the graphics will freeze up for like a quarter of a second.
Well, the reviewers that I listen to that use the Xbox version claim that the load times are really slow as well.
There have been load times that are really slow, yes. Now, the thing that might be helping me out is that I'm not leaving the game running for long periods of time because I tend to play during lunch, so I bring the Xbox up to a completely different room, which involves shutting it down.
I guess we're now up to our second patch, at least on PC. Maybe the first patch on Xbox.
It's the first patch on Xbox. It came through this.
And what's really different here is that they release absolutely no change notes at all about these patches. So you have absolutely no idea what it is they're fixing.
Better stability.
Yeah, scripting fixes.
Yeah.
So that's a negative mark to the developers there, but they're fixing stuff that I haven't run into yet, or we're never going to run into. So shrug from me.
Yep.
It's working just fine.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
So with that, some happy times.
Yep. Got feedback? Send it to jarober@gmail.com or visit the website at jarober.com/blog/fnv.ssp.